Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Haikyuu Season 4. We are on episode 21, and in the last episode, Inarizaki did end up taking the second set like I thought they would, and now we're on to the third set, where Kageyama just ended off the episode with pulling out an unreal block by himself against Ojiro, who is a top 4 spiker. Which just, I mean, this is the match where Kageyama has really come out and just like made a real statement. I mean, we've seen him make statements before, but like this is just a case of across the board, like every single thing that you can possibly do in volleyball, he is just pulling everything out of the bag at a top tier level. We've seen him pull out unreal serves. Of course, he always has his unreal tosses. We've seen him work hard, get under the net to set the ball back over. We've seen him just block one of the top 5 spikers on his own. Like, he's just on he's so on form right now. And I don't see it letting up. So, I can't wait to see more of him. I feel like there's something with Suki coming up, because Rintaro on the other team is wanting Suki to actually come out with he's wanting really to kind of for him to block him, or at least put up some kind of fight. But I mean, this is the thing, like, Suki will get there. He will. I believe that he will block one of those wide spikes that Rintaro likes to do. And we also had some backstory on one of their players, Shinsuke, who is their captain, and that was a little cool sort of like first half of the episode thing we had going on there. He's a really interesting character as well. He's kind of like that kind of grounded member of the team that brings everyone like sort of like, you know, back into play and doesn't let them get too complacent. So that was really cool as well. But yeah, I mean, other than that, we have Nishinoya, who's scared for the first time, like actually slower, and he's not like at his best, which is interesting. So obviously going forward, it will be interesting to see if this match continues that way, or if he eventually pulls himself around. So yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to talk about in the pre-discussion, so we're going to get straight in episode 21 and see what we get. So, as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken out for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and the link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, the link to the full length to this, the full-length reaction to this episode is in the description below as well. So if you do want to watch my full-length reaction to this episode, then the offer is there for you. But yes, nothing else to talk about, so we're going to get in episode 21, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Hero. Fucking hell, that is synchro there, didn't they? They called them full of holes.
スパイクが撃たれる瞬間ってのはスパイカー対ブロッカーの1対1じゃない。いつだって1対6、必ず戦いようはある。
So he's got to make use of other. There you go. You force it one way, then you can only go so many places. Just force it out for a receive. See, he already knows.
1、2セットかけて後ろに伝えてんだ。これがスナリン太郎のターン打ちですよって。
Yeah, big is like team get used to where it actually goes.
当然の競技。打てば打つほど有利になっていくのはズッキーたちの方だ。
Yeah, and then you just basically rule them out of the game.
意図的にずっとクロスだけ塞いできたのか。こんなに自己主張の薄いミドル初めてだよ。機械かよ。10点取ってこい。
Ah, this is Kinoshita. This is the other guy who's doing pinch serves, right?
最後のチャンス。脳内サービスエース。28本目。
Is it good? It's over. Ah, God's sake! Well. Masamu picked it up well easily.
強烈な1年を見て、すげえって興奮して、でも自分とは違う人種だしって思って、俺もどっかで何か
It's not going to come immediately. You'll have plenty of other chances. It's just, you know, not all of it can come all at once.
お前がここぞってところでかっこよく決めるチャンスは。でも3年生は 今日で終わりかもしれないのに。
You see that? I guess like the. God, he hit that. I don't know if, when was the last time you missed a spike. I feel like it was a while ago. Oh my God, Kageyama! What on earth? Is
俺超ガキの頃すげえビビリだったんですよ。虫が怖い、鳥が怖い、三輪車が怖い、お化けが怖い。
he just can't remember
知
them.
りだった気もするし、うちのじいちゃんがリアル獅子の子落とし野郎なんで大体克服しましたけど。
Oh my God! Oh
見
God!
たけど2回とも違う美女。
Fucking
試
hell!
合中に饒舌な西野屋は珍しい。
I can see where Nishinoya gets it from then.
足が床に張り付いてなんか懐かしい気がしたんす。じいちゃんが言ったんすよ。怖がるのはもったいねえって。
Okay. So what we lost some points there
う
then,
まいから食ってみろ。
if Atsumo's back.
食わず嫌いしてたものをやっぱり嫌いだって確認すること。敵意には理由があること。
God, God.
自転車に乗れたらどこまで行けるのか。
わからずじまいはもったいねえのさ。
それでも怖かったらどうするの？
そんなの決まってんだろ。助けてもらう。
How is this gonna? It was gonna help for his dig.
西野屋さ、わざわざ苦手なオーバーやんなくてもアンダーでさばけないこともないんじゃないの？
Yeah, because he was never that great at overhand, was
で
he?
きると思ってたんだよ。選択肢が増えるって分かっててやんね
So
え
he's gonna go for an overhand.
つまんねえよ。
Ah,
西野屋
nice! Very nice. I like the fact that Kinoshiya's help, like, almost coaching him in that respect. That's amazing. See, he can help from not being on the court. And they're gonna stop him immediately. Yes, Asahi, come on, helping out his boys.
その高校、宮敦夢のサーブを一本で切りました。
No points for Atsumu this time round. I like that. We're getting every.
文字の名前。そっちかい。俺解明しようかな。サム、オサムのサム。じゃあ、アツムはツムか。
ミヤ兄弟、その名前が有名になってくるより前から俺は双子を知っとった。
セッターか。スパイカー見たかったな。
You
ツ
like,
ムはアホやな。
you like the idea of being a
セッター
spider
は一
before
番うま
seven.
いやつがやるクールなポジションなんやで。
おっちゃんが歌したる。おお、ナイスキーや。歌したる。
かっこええな。
Interesting. So he just took that from the fact of because he wanted to help.
双子はうまいよりか強い感じで闘争心が人一倍旺盛。どちらかといえばオサムの方が一枚上手でオサムに挑むアツムがよくある構図。アツムの方は負けず嫌いで収まらない何かがあるような気がした。
じゃあ今日セッターに集む。
すぐ知っとるか。いろんなポジションやった方が上手くなるんだよ。
Always got something to say.
アツムは見るたびセットの腕を上げてった。
ボールが手に収まる感じ、離れる感じ、感触でブロックもよく見えた。俺のセットに不満はあった？
いや、別に。
じゃあなんで決められへんの？
Oh God.
ツム、嫌われとるで。
で？
アツムは時々怖いと思った。他人に仲間に嫌われるってしんどいやんか。
オサム、今日はあかんかったな。
まあそういう日もあるわ。
このポンコツ、あのセッティングでスパイク決められんポンコツは
Bloody hell.
さっさとポジション開けよ。
おさむが一番身に染みてんねやから。
That'll be enough to. Yeah. They don't want to push each other's buttons to get them to, you know.
校長でもこっちがそうやない時もあんちゃうがい。あつむくんは失敗しないんですか。ポンコツにポンコツ言うて何が悪いや。あれ名物双子ラスト
Maybe the idea of them looking into a mirror when basically they're doing it all the time anyway.
ウイイレやるか。
やる。
多分アツムの一番恵まれとる点は体格よりいろんな能力よりオサムなんやと思う。互いが互いに絶対追いついてくる。
It's like Hinata and Kageyama.
それに苛立つこともあるんやろうけど。
I think because they're always trying to stand out, but it's hard when you're twins, right?
奴らはきっと競うだけ強くなっていく。
So it ends up like working out in the long run because they keep pushing each other to
ユー
new
スとは
heights.
やりよるなツム。
悔しがれサム。
あんま悔しいと思てへんことが悔しい。俺とお前実力は変わらんけど。
いや
That's his way of looking at
一
it.
通り聞けや。ツムの方が俺よりちょびっとだけバレーボール愛しとるからな。
Hmm. That's the difference. Ooh, Yamaguchi! Ah, I kept it! Shit. Yeah, it's always hard after a flashback for it to not go in their favour, innit? Damn it, who's picking it up? There's no way. Oh, right. How the hell did he get there? Looked like it was... Okay, that's what we got there. Jesus. That was incredibly low set. Woo!
今の素晴らしいセットアップに会場のどのくらいが気づいただろうか。で
That's got to be tough as fuck, yeah.
これがユースのセッターか。
You gotta have a lot of core for
いい
that,
じゃん
man.
あれは。
True.
よりいっぱいのもんで支えたんね。セッターやもん。
Bloody hell.
これこそミヤ集む。
セッターの鏡だね。
おや。
でも俺には無理だからね。
Yeah, I could never
あん
see.
な上げづらいボールにあんな素早く滑り
I
込
could
んだ
never see Kenma pulling that up.
俺も
Kageyama noticed it.
ここに来れてよかった。
Alright. Okay, episode 21, Hero. Another great episode. Another one that is focusing a lot around telling backstories of individual players. And in this one in particular, we had a few. We had obviously the twins at the end. We'll get into those. But we also had sort of like a mixture of Nishinoya and Kinoshita as well, which I really liked. But at the very beginning, we had Suki basically not block Rintaro in a way that, you know, we was expecting. I would have loved it. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved that. I mean, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting a kill block from him to actually put the terror into Rintaro. But that wasn't the case. And in fact, what they've done is actually played to what Suki actually would have done, which Suki never actually takes it as personal or anything like that. He doesn't care about the spotlight or anything like that, but the thing that he actually had figured out beforehand, the reason why Rintaro was like not expecting anything really from Suki, was because he was putting it on a plate for Rintaro to sort of set up his receivers around him so that they all know exactly where he's going on his cross shot, so that it like, you know, he can't straighten up, he can't go down the middle because that's where Suki is. He can only go one way. Receiver's there to dig up the ball. You failed. So it's basically just another way of blocking that. We've seen like similar instances of it. For example, in season 3, when they're going up against Shiratorizawa and Ushijima, of course, you know what I mean? They get a 3-man block. Suki's like, let me set the timing. And he sets them just away from, like, so basically filling up all of the space for a cross shot, forcing Ushijima to go straight right into Nishinoya's hands. In a similar vein, this is exactly what that is, right? And it's just a kind of like underhanded way of still utilizing a block as an effective strategy without it just being a kill block. and he calls it as basically anyone who thinks that blocking just about kill blocks is outdated. And then Kinoshita obviously came on for his pinch serve. It got digged up immediately by a really good receive from Usumu. And yeah, I mean, he came off the court feeling distraught like you would. Court distraught, yeah, nice. MC Zachary on the mic. And he had this whole idea of like a hero thing. Now, I'm glad that it went into that in a different way of being the hero, because if it hadn't have gone into like, you know, Nishinoya being scared or anything, and actual, you know, Kinoshita actually ending up to teach and sort of like, you know, help Nishinoya with his overhand receives, if that didn't occur, I would have come into this discussion and be talking about how he's got the wrong mentality about being a hero, because his idea beforehand of being a hero was to be the individual, right? And we've gone through this many times before with like Haikyuu. It's not about individual performance, is about the team, right? So if his whole idea was obviously to be the hero, to, you know what I mean, because he's got it stuck in his head that like he's looking at the individuals of the team and just focusing directly on what they add to the team, but like he's not looking at it over like as an umbrella, as a team as a whole. He's looking at it just like, oh, they, you know, they're a hero in this moment and they're a hero in that moment, everything like that. And then it's like, that's obviously not the right way to think about, right? Not the right mentality to have. And coming away with like, you know, not even thinking that you're never even going to get another chance. I mean, you've got the time. You've got the time to get other chances. This isn't the end. He obviously then goes on about the whole thing of like, well, this is the last one with the third year. So I get that one, of course. There's only, you know, so much time with the third years that you're going to get. But yeah, obviously Suga talks to him, everything like that, and it comes back around with Nishi. So Nishi says that he felt scared of everything as a kid, and what pulled him through that was actually his grandfather, who God, had a different woman every time he would show up. At least like when Tanaka was there. I mean, I don't know. Is this where Tanaka and Nishi get it from? Is Nishi's grandfather? Bloody hell! But like his grandfather, yeah, I guess just so like. He just takes things as like as just head on and doesn't have the worry, you know, which obviously you can tell that's obviously where Nishi gets it from, and you know he talked about it being like kind of nostalgic to back to a time when things were different and he didn't feel the same way as what he does now, and it must have actually invigorated him to a point where like, you know, like something is something that he hasn't felt for a long time, something has made him that way. I feel like if you've gone for such a long time, a long period of like not even worrying about everything, that eventually when something does worry you, like there's got to be some form of like adrenaline that comes with that, right? That like rushes over you because this is something that you haven't felt in a long time. I feel like if you haven't experienced an emotion in a long time, that build up kind of becomes more and more sort of prevalent when it does happen, right? So, you know, feeling that and whatever. I feel like that's what Nishinoya means when he's like, it's a feeling of like nostalgia or whatever, as well as obviously him looking back to when he was a kid. But this coming up to like the fact of, yeah, because he's never been that good with overhand receives, and we've learned previously that jump float serves are actually easier handed, that like when you are overhanding the like doing an overhand receive rather than an under one, right? And Nishinoya previously has never been that great at them, and Kinoshita actually being the one to actually, you know, it's worked in both of their favors, because I remember Kinoshita coming out and actually asking Nishinoya if he wanted, like, would you receive my jump floats, right? And so they're both, the advantage is that they're both actually training both of their skills, right, at the same time, so they're both getting something from it. And yeah, I mean, not even just that, but the fact that he actually shouts out to actually move forward, right? Giving Nishinoya that sort of encouragement from it to not go for the underhand because that's what he's so used to. But just give him that little push in that last moment to push forward, so he's forced into an overhand receive, which works. And that was the whole thing being the hero, right? Is that he's not even on the court, but he has literally gotten Nishinoya to come back and make that receive, right? So that's great. And that's the idea of like the hero that is not the individual, but as a whole helping the team. So I like that, I really do. What else? Yeah, so after that we went into more flashback of other characters. So this time it was the twins. I thought originally it was going to be Ojiro because he was the first one to actually show up in the flashback. And yeah, so the twins, at first we had the likes of Atsumu actually wanting to spike first before being the setter. So that was very interesting. And also that Osamu was actually the better of the two twins at first. But we learned obviously towards the end of that Atsumu actually had a love for volleyball more than Osamu does. So that obviously played into not just the fact that obviously they keep pushing each other to their limits, but in terms of volleyball, Atsumu is able to go one better than Osamu because he has that love for volleyball that Osamu doesn't have. So even though, like, you know, if Atsumu was to push Osamu, like, Osamu would get like temporarily like sort of better, but he would never be better than Atsumu, right? And that was the thing, obviously, when we first started this, like just before we started this match, it was clear that like they pointed out that Atsumu was the superior one, but Osamu was still fucking really, really, really good. So yeah, and that obviously his like teammates had hated Atsumu as well. That's basically just down to the fact of like his desire to just push for and learn everything. Like a lot of that can be compared to Kageyama in a way, you know, because it was exactly the same. Like he demanded excellence and things like that, and that was something that that obviously they shared. But yeah, I think the interesting thing, especially about that, is the whole thing of it's got to be hard for them because they are twins, and I feel like this goes for a lot of twins out there. They almost feel, I mean, I don't want to talk for twins around the world, but I can understand a sense of like almost a desire, or like I would imagine that like they can force themselves to do different things just to get out of each other's shadow, because you know, like the idea between obviously these two is that, you know, they're trying to stand out in their own way, like be better than each other and everything. They keep pushing each other to limits, but because they are twins, that's the kind of advantage that you get from it. But then obviously that idea of like just trying to stand out, be your own person, is obviously it's got to be a hard thing to get past. I feel like in terms of twins, that's probably at least twins that are doing the same kind of things or they're into the same stuff. I feel like that's probably something that twins have to go through. Something like it's almost like an initiation thing. They kind of just like have to go through, is like to like if they want to stand out. I know that some twins like just like go along with it and they love the fact that there's like two of them, and you know they dress exactly the same, and you know and all of that, and they learn all like the same things. And but obviously in terms of Atsumu and Osamu is that, you know, they do both, obviously they both do volleyball and everything like that, but they're always like trying to be better than each other and trying to stand out. But you know, because they're twins, it's obviously it's something that's always there. So yeah, so then it comes back and Atsumu comes out with an amazing set, a low set, like that to even put that into perspective of how that would like like because of the pace, right? Because we've gone through this before about like the pace of volleyball and everything. It's a quick sport, right? To be able to get underneath the ball to that level, Kenma got the exact right word. If he hadn't said this, I would have not been able to bring it up and actually describe it as this. So stabilize, right? So first of all, obviously he talks about the speed and everything to get there. I thought there's no chance he's getting that. I thought when we saw his foot, he was going to kick it up. because it just looked like there was no way he's going to get under that, and he did. So not only speed, right? He's got to set himself into the correct position from a low point. Okay, so his feet need, like, his balancing foot, which is in front, has to be placed exactly the right, like, length to where he can balance himself and prop himself up straight. Then to stabilize, which I think that's the hardest bit. That's the thing that's like, right, okay. I said during the reaction that that's like, that's got to take some core as well, because, like, think about it. At the speed he's going, momentum obviously carries through. So he's got to put down his balancing foot whilst he's obviously sprinting to get there. But once he puts his foot down, his body is going to force itself forward because of the momentum. Stabilizing himself in that amount of time means that once he's put his foot down, he has to basically shoot his torso and everything like that away from his balancing foot, so that it doesn't, like, bounce forward and he ends up like a bobblehead, right? He's got to basically stop his torso dead still and then get underneath. And not only that, like, this is because he sets it backwards, doesn't he? Which is even more mental. If it's forwards, you've got more, you've got more room to push it forwards than you do. But because if it's backwards, right, not only is he all the way down here, but he has to, like, that is, God, that might be actually the most insane set we've ever seen. And I'm talking like obviously when you're putting in that bracket, like, obviously you've got to talk about, like, some of the ones obviously Kageyama's brought out where he's moved himself into position and back set and everything like that, but he's had the time to get there to put himself in that position. Sometimes he's gone off the cuff and it's just been like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, how the fuck do you get that? But in terms of, like, speed and technique and everything, like, this one's mad. Of course you need to bring up Aikawa's as well. Aikawa's is in, obviously season 2 episode 24, where obviously he jumps from the side and just places it over. But, like, the fact that he was able to put that on a plate from that angle is probably in terms of technique, the best we've ever seen. I would be surprised. Like, I want to see if there's any chance of any set going forward that will top that in terms of technique, because that was insane. So yeah, and then obviously with that, Kageyama looking ahead, obviously observing, like he does. He's always observing setters and everything like that. He did that all with Aikawa before, to be better than him. And now he's got this rivalry with Atsumu. It'll be exactly the same here. So he's recognizing, and that's the thing, is, like, even as, like, amazing, unreal as Kageyama's been in this whole match, like, it's going to be interesting to see if, because Kageyama likes to get one back on them, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if we see Kageyama come back with something special, even though he's been doing amazing special things, like, all match. But he likes to give it back, doesn't he? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, anyway, that's all I've got. So another amazing episode. It's very rare this show has a bad episode. Like, it doesn't have a bad episode, but I mean, like, it's very rare it doesn't have a good episode, I should say. So yeah, another great one. But anyway, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access gives you access to shows a week early. There's the full length tier, which gives you access to all of the full length reactions to the shows that I do. And then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you all of the full length reactions to the movies and everything that I do. Okay, so if that's what you want, then that's there for you. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.